And welcome a legend, the one and the only, Mr. Stan Lee!
First of all, rule Britannia. That gets us off to a good start.
Hi, Stan.
Hi.
I was curious, when you left Marvel, what was it like to give your babies to someone else?
Oh, it wasn't fun. They made me the publisher, so I wasn't the editor and head writer anymore. And I had to watch other guys do things, and they were good. I mean, we had the best staff in the world. But I miss being with the artists and being with the colorists and the people who make the books go and with the other writers. So being a publisher wasn't as much fun. What I did mainly, because I'm not a businessman, I traveled around the country. I came to London a lot of times, just talking about Marvel, just promoting the books and so forth. So they called me publisher, but I was really like a glorified press agent, and that was more fun than being sitting in an office, figuring out if we're making money or not.
First of all, as a geek, I say thank you for making my childhood imaginative and fun, and I'm sure most geeks will appreciate that. What I'd like to ask is, has there been any stories that fans have shared with you that have been memorable over your vast career?
Yeah, my stories? Every one of them. They were classics. No, there are so many books. I mean, I had favorite stories with the Fantastic Four, with the Hulk, with Daredevil, with Spider-Man, with all of them, I guess. There was one story, I remember, these are not our two top characters, but I did one story where Daredevil fought the Submariner. And they were both our heroes, and I had to not make it look as if one of them could really beat the other, so they practically fought to a draw. And in the end, the Submariner went to the ocean, back to the ocean, and he left Daredevil kind of lying exhausted on the sand, and he said something like, "You were a noble competitor." I enjoyed the way I made them both seem heroic, even though they were fighting each other. I had so many stories. See, the problem is I'm my biggest fan. So I love every story I wrote, so they were all my favorites.
Stan, it's lovely to see you here at London Film and Comic Con. Thank you so much for coming to this event. It's great to see you. I wanted to know which Marvel characters and stories you'd like to see in the upcoming Ant-Man and Doctor Strange movies, and how do you think it's going to change the Marvel comic universe, having these two films out there?
Actually, the movies have been great. We have been so lucky. We got the best directors, special effects, wonderful actors, people that had not been big stars before, like the fellow who plays Thor. He's wonderful. I was with him yesterday. I did my cameo, of course, and Chris, who plays Captain America. It's funny, you may remember he had been the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four. It's so unusual to take a guy from one part and give him another role in the same series. Worked out beautifully, though. So how do I think it'll change? All it can do is make it better for Marvel. If we do these movies and the movies are successful, there are people now reading Marvel comic books who never would have thought to read a comic book before. So it helps the comic book business. The movie business has been unbelievably incredible. The Marvel movies are the biggest money-making movies of all. And, you know, it's funny. I keep thinking DC could probably make a lot more money with Superman and Batman if they announced that I'd have a cameo. People wouldn't believe it. They'd have to go to the theater and see it.
You'd
just talked about cameos. You've obviously had a lot of cameos in all the different Marvel films. Have you got any personal favourites?
I love them all. My cameos are like my characters. I love all of them. The one I did where I was the librarian and I was playing music while Spider-Man was having a life and death battle with the lizard. The time they wouldn't let me into the Fantastic Four's wedding because they didn't believe I was who I was. I thought of a couple this morning. Gee, I had forgotten about those. I loved them, and now I forgot what they were. But no, every one of them. The one I did yesterday, I can't tell you what it is. Where do you see, what was that for, the Avengers? It was for the Avengers. It really was good. Don't miss the Avengers.
I just want to say thank you for Spider-Man. I think he's the best character ever, so thank you very much.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
My question is, what do you think is more important to making a really good comic? Is it the story, or is it the artwork, or are they both equally important?
Impossible to say. It's like saying what makes a great song hit, the music or the lyrics. You can't have a good story, a good comic strip story, without a good story, without a good script. But a bad artist could ruin the script. If it's drawn badly, you'll think the story isn't any good. There's nothing in art that is as close to being a 50-50 value as comics, where the artist, I think, is 50% as valuable as the writer and vice versa. When they are both doing a good job, then you have a product that's really great. If one of them doesn't do a good job, the whole product suffers.
I was just wondering if there's any aspiring comic book artists, what would you say to them to get them on their way?
You know, that's the toughest question to answer when people say, I want to write comics or I want to draw comics, what would you recommend? I don't know what to tell you. I have been away from the comic books for so long. But it was that draw comics are right. Draw. If you want to draw comics, I imagine there's always room for another great artist. But you've got to understand, you've got to be as good as the people who are drawing the strips. Or else they need you because they've already got the artist. So make sure before you submit anything to an editor at a comics company that the samples of artwork you're going to submit are at least as good as what they're already using. Now that's easier said than done, because those artists are superb. But if you want to be a comic book artist, you've got to be superb also. Years ago, you just had to be able to tell a good story with pictures. You didn't have to be that great an artist, as long as you could depict the story. But now, every great artist wants to be in comics, and the competition is really very tough. So just be sure that the material you send to the editor is knockout artwork, and good luck to you.
Hi Stan, welcome to London again. How likely do you think we are to see a standalone Loki movie and a standalone Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie? And what would you like to see in these?
I'd like to see a standalone every movie with all our characters. And we will eventually. They're working on a Doctor Strange, they're working on a Black Panther, they're working on an Ant-Man and everything. But as far as would I like to see what you said, sure, I love standalone. But by the same token, the audiences, the public, loves when we team them up. That's why the Avengers is so big. They love to see all the characters, or many of them, together in one movie.
Hello. We've seen so many great Marvel movies, and we're now starting to see the start of Marvel TV shows. I was wondering if there are any other characters, other than Daredevil, that you think would be better suited to TV?
I think any one of them would work in TV. Some of them, unfortunately, require expensive special effects in order to get the most out of them, and some of those special effects would be too expensive for TV. But any one of them, the Hulk, 1 million years ago, was one of the most popular TV series, if you remember. And I think Spider-Man on TV would be sensational, but they're spending so much time and money on his movies, they don't have time. But sooner or later, they'll probably find a way to have them on TV too, because Marvel is very greedy, and if there's a way to make an extra buck, believe me, they'll follow through.
Kevin Smith, well known with his fandom in the comic books, and I was just wondering if you're at all disappointed that he hasn't had a chance to represent one of your characters on screen yet. And are there any other directors that you would quite like to see have a turn at one of your characters?
Yeah, Kevin would do a great job. Kevin is an old, if you're familiar with him, he's the fellow who did the movie Mallrats years ago, my first starring vehicle. And Kevin knows the comics as well as anybody, so I don't know why Marvel doesn't hire him to do one of their movies. Maybe they will.
Hi Stan, such an honor. I'm here representing a site from Brazil. So if you can say hi to your Brazilian fans.
Our Brazilian fans, how are you? Good to see you. I get so many letters and emails from Brazil that maybe you're some of the people whose emails I've been reading. Anyway.
I would like to know, after having done so many great things throughout your life, if there's anything else you'd still like to achieve.
Well, if my mother was still with us, she'd feel that I'm a failure because she was sure I'd be president of the United States. I just couldn't make it. Oh, wait a minute, I have something for you to do. Oh, am I glad I thought of this. I want to bring back a present for my wife. My wife is English, and I was thinking, what could I get her? And it occurred to me, and you can help. Are any of you friendly with the Queen? Well, if you are, I think it would be nice if I were made a knight of the British Empire.
Absolutely, yes.
Because then I could go home and say to my wife, you're now a dame. And imagine how happy she'd be. So right after this interview, get together, work it out, call Her Highness, and I'll wait to hear from you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Stan Lee.